Tag TV and Tag Radio be seen and heard by both technology users and technology producers throughout the state of Georgia and around the world. Low cost, big benefits, powerhouse online branded video and audio has arrived. Tag TV, Tag Radio, there's a lot more to know. This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you by GlobalSpeak.com, new media consultants, corporate video and audio communications, video and audio production and distribution, live and virtual event production. Tag TV and Tag Radio is a service of GlobalSpeak.com, creatively delivering powerful marketing, video, and audio solutions. High-speed internet access is everywhere, but it's hard to believe that it really all began in 1994 when Charles Brewer founded Mindspring with 32 customers and 8 modems. That same year, Sky Dayton founded Earthlink. By 1995, Dayton had introduced Earthlink software, the world's first open and direct internet access software. Later that year, he went nationwide providing local dial-up internet access in 98 U.S. cities. By 96, Mindspring went public at $8 a share. By 97, Earthlink started trading on NASDAQ. Well, the race was on, and it was across America. Mindspring goes from Atlanta to L.A., San Francisco, San Diego, Dallas, Chicago, Sacramento, and Houston, while Earthlink rolls out high-speed DSL in L.A., New York City, Dallas, and Charlotte. By 2000, Mindspring and Earthlink complete a merger creating the world's second-largest ISP with more than 3 million subscribers. Greetings, everyone. It's Friday, April 13, 2012, and this is Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella. Hear the company name Earthlink, and most of us think individual customer internet access. However, today's Tech Talk is all about tomorrow's Earthlink, as Tino speaks with Company Vice President of Managed Services and Product Management, Mike Fuqua. And it's all about how Earthlink of tomorrow is all about cloud services, security, application, and IT support, and the Internet providers' associated customer portal and systems. Mike, a respected senior-level IT and development executive, brings a wealth of diversified expertise from transforming business processes with technology to leading global operations. A former senior vice president for Global Crossing and IT leadership roles with Frontier, IBM, and Sigma Marketing have him at the forefront of formulating strategic plans at his role at Earthlink. It's all about not your father's Mindspring as the Tech Talk focus turns to Earthlink today and tomorrow as Tino speaks with Vice President Managed Services of Product Management, Mike Fuqua.
Mike, thanks for joining me on Tech Talk today.
Good afternoon.
Let's jump right in. Earthlink, I think people know the name Earthlink. I know you guys have been changing a lot. Your business strategy, your growth strategy has really evolved. I had an opportunity to hear from your CEO about 6 months ago, so I was pretty excited to hear and understand a little bit more about what Earthlink is up to. So I know people think about Earthlink as the provider of Internet access for individual consumers. I know you still do that, but talk more about Earthlink business and where you're headed.
Sure, thanks, Peter. Earthlink definitely, our roots were definitely in the Internet provider area, definitely in the mid-'90s. That still serves us well. We've got still over 1 million end users today, but we have evolved much more than that today. We are expanded ourselves into the business services, and today Earthlink Business has evolved by both internal development and acquisitions to become a leading IT services network and communications provider, which we're providing services to over 150,000 businesses nationwide. Earthlink's comprehensive portfolio of services includes IT services as a major strategic element, which is obviously things like virtualization services or application services, merging that with the connectivity, but also including managed security and managed support, so giving sort of a robust portfolio view of IT services as a whole.
So would you say you're moving from at least more of a balance, I guess, between serving individuals, the individual consumer, to serving the business community? What's your the clients and prospective clients, what do they look like today versus what they look like, as you talked about, back in the 90s?
Yeah, we're definitely focused in on the business sector, and the primary focus is really targeted to that mid-market business, that are seeking the comprehensive sort of IT solutions from a single provider. And again, IT services or solutions being a breadth of activities that represent virtualization or the cloud computing environment as well as the networking environment. And our prospective client is typically is viewed as between the 50 to 600 type of employees in the company. Their staff, their IT staff, is somewhere between a 1 to 15 person typical average staff. Obviously, the tough economy, that's gone on for many years now. That a lot of them are running even thinner than that. As a matter of fact, if you look at some recent surveys, you're going to see there's suggestions out there that roughly 40% of the companies that have roughly 100 employees or less may not even have an IT staff, but it might be somebody that's appointed from another department to take on the IT function. So we want to do is in that whole spectrum, that mid-market, is to complement that IT staff, bring them be their preferred single provider or partner, so that we can simplify their actual management of their IT environment, their integration activities of both IT and communication. So one throat to choke.
Yeah, and we hear a lot about the cloud nowadays. It sounds like you're at least that's part of the business that you're in. You talk about a company of less than 100 employees or 100 employees that doesn't have an IT department. So that begs the question in terms of where do they have their servers and how do they work with companies. So what do you guys do in that regard in respect to are you a full service provider? And I guess the broader question too would be, where do you see the area of Georgia or even beyond, where are people moving to today, where you guys feel like there's some new opportunities? So I asked you a few questions there, but
sure, no, that's fine. What we see today is the market right now is the first entry into the market, especially in the cloud perspective. I mean, there's a lot of efficiency that can be had out of the new technology. But doesn't mean that people are necessarily going to get the most benefit out of the dollar by doing it themselves. You still, if you go into the capital game, which you have to upgrade and put new software or new hardware in place, you still have to go through a refresh every so often. You still have to be able to have the management skills associated to it, and you still have to go through the rigorous process to assure that you have a high stability, secure environment for what you're looking to leverage the technology for your business. So when you look at today, the market is still entry point is very much a infrastructure as a service from a cloud perspective, but we don't see that as the only entrance. As a matter of fact, we see that as obviously as a primary, but our portfolio actually addresses the element of the data center, virtualization technology, obviously in the compute and storage, but also going up the stack, the application sets that reside within that structure. Obviously, connectivity is a major element. You can't get to the data or to the applications, and you're out of pocket at that point in time from your business perspective. And then the other two major elements are managed security. Security is still an element that's going to be significant for many years to come. It's never going to go away, and security is one of those areas where you have to constantly keep improving because there's a lot of obviously criminal intent out there or malicious intent either way. And you want to keep on the forefront of those things. And then managed support, rounding it out. Obviously looking at data or the interactions with your applications or the data always gets down to an endpoint. And how do you help manage that endpoint, whether it's a help desk function or whether it's something with the equipment that's associated to it. So the ability to actually look across the whole portfolio and have a single point that you can actually address all those issues with.
And I think our listeners always enjoy hearing some specifics that bring things to life. So what sort of things are you doing with the company now? Do you have a couple of specific examples of how you're working with clients?
Yeah, I'll give you one, a very recent one. It just sort of jumps out at me because it's something I've been working with even not just with my team but myself and getting engaged because it was of interest to me directly. And it actually is it's with a healthcare provider. It's really got a bunch of professionals, and it's approximately over 600 healthcare professionals that needed uniform access and performance to a set of applications that were at both 15 locations, so physical locations, office locations, as well as a large majority of the personnel were also hooking in from broadband or mobile settings because they were actually delivering health professional services to end patients either at their homes or other localities. So they were looking for a solution that could take their application set, virtualize it, obviously maximize on the cost efficiencies that can be had from within the cloud, and the storage issues as well. But also so they could reduce obviously their capital costs, their upgrades to new software, and get some efficiencies on the management techniques that are in place. But they were also looking to virtualize the desktop as well. So they were looking at the ability to actually maximize even that viewpoint from the actual end user perspective. So the end user wasn't an environment which they had to constantly try to reinvest and keep them up to the right rev levels and stuff on their individual devices. But by providing a virtual desktop type of environment and an application that's working in a virtual space, is they could actually provide a consistent experience no matter what tools are being used across all the environment as a whole. And then it became the next part, which was the compliancy issues. I mean, they're under HIPAA compliance, and they were setting their management and policy issues around HIPAA. So there were a lot of things around security and making sure that the data and the processing was going to be secure. So the ability to leverage the policies associated to that. And again, the virtual desktop helped maintain that because they've got a centralized control point on how the data is being used, as well as how they manage security around the data. And then the ability to perform, which was really taking that next step. So it's one of these that's touching all the portfolio points. It was looking at the localities, 15 locations, that at the majority of the time, that's where the heavy concentration of users were. And they needed to make sure they had the private IP service so they could have a secure environment to get at the actual computing environment, so which we put in our MPLS service, so they get consistent performance and quality of service that we can drive towards. But then the next part was actually taking the next step beyond that, and that was looking at what do you do when a user has an issue point. And again, they had a small staff. They were running pretty much ragged in terms of a help desk perspective as well. So they had limited number of hours that they actually would support. And we were able to actually provide them a managed support element as well to give them new services, from a help desk perspective, 24/7, that could actually manage against all the elements, so they could associate themselves to the application that's riding within the virtual servers, associate themselves to the virtual desktop if there's a need associated to what the end user have an issue point there, as well as any security-based issues that may come up, and any performance-based issues, because we're obviously managing the network as a whole. So provided that single point, touching pretty much the gamut, from the virtualization to the application, through the security, through the connectivity, and then the end-user support, to provide them a sort of a complete complement to their IT staff.
Well, it really brings to life what you're doing at Earthlink, and I think many of our listeners would be surprised in terms of where you've come from, and how people, when they hear the Earthlink name, if they haven't been paying attention for the last couple of years, what you guys have been doing. I have a few more seconds, and I think I'd like to wrap it up along the lines of what's the next big thing coming down the pike for Earthlink?
The next big thing right now is really is the virtualization services beyond obviously the compute and storage, and it's really the we'll call the cloud workspace service area, and that's more the hosted virtual desktop service. Even though we're doing some of those today, we're seeing that as a significant space of growth. and an area where you actually have you're providing the customer more of a control point for their business, control point around the business applications that are pertinent to that customer's business itself and not necessarily to the personal aspects that people are using on their devices. Because we know that's getting blurred today. I mean, the blur between what's personal and what's company is occurring all the time. And individuals, as we see the younger generation who's more engaged in a lot of the social environments, their want needs are to make sure that they're going to touch point into their personal side besides the business side. So we see hosted virtual desktop services as being a significant area that we'll be offering more service structures to. Giving employees, the anywhere, any device type of capability, and the private IP connection, so they have a virtual office anywhere they're at. And that's just one of what I'll call the more near term. The application space is the next steps. We see functionalities of business constantly looking at the application side, and that's what's pertinent to the functions of their business, and then start moving obviously to the application environment and addressing the applications into that virtual space, or into that cloud virtual space, so that their applications, whether it's homegrown or something that's tailored or whether it's something that's configured particular to their needs, or even if it's a third party, can perform exactly what they want to every endpoint, again, anywhere, anytime.
Well, Mike, thanks for joining me today on Tech Talk, and thanks to Earthlink for being a great supporter tag and a premier member, and best of luck as you move forward in the future. Thanks again.
All right, thank you, Tina. Appreciate it very much.